Morning, everybody. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. Our first project is supposed to be on bees, and today I'm going to give you examples of honeybees, which are the bees that we mostly see around us, especially here in summertime in the north. Classification. Honeybees are social insects. That means that they live in groups. All right? They have 6 legs and 3-part bodies. A pair of antennae, compound eyes. Compound eyes have different lenses inside of them. You notice bees, they can't move their eyes like we do. So they have different lenses in their eyes to see in different places, which they actually see at all times. How they make up their mind where to go and how to get there, I don't know, but they do fly, so they have to see a lot. They have jointed legs and a hard exoskeleton. That means that their skeleton is on the outside of their bodies. The 3 body parts are the head, they have a thorax, and an abdomen. They have an abdomen like our stomach is an abdomen, but the thorax contains a lot of the gear that they need to collect pollen to make honey. And also the stinger is in the thorax. Be careful. They live in hives. During the winter, honeybees hibernate during the cold winter months. Bees eat their store of honey in the winter when there is no food. Now, in an interesting thought, if they're hibernating, why do they need to eat? So their type of hibernation is different from that of other animals. Also, it's said that there are bees who are on guard duty all the time during the winter inside the hives. Now, a honeybee can collect nectar from plants. That's where they get it from. The pollen and the nectar is what they need to make honey. So they collect this, and it actually, those little hairs that you see on their bodies, that actually has pollen all over it, and it's removed by another bee when they bring it back to the hive. All right? I wanted to show you this book. You wouldn't want to live without bees. I'm just going to skip around to show you some of the facts that are in the book. Top honeybee talents. Their wings beat 200 times a second, creating that familiar buzzing sound when they fly at an average of 15 miles per hour. Which actually, if you think you're riding in a car, you ride around the city at double that at 30. When you're on the highway, it's 4 times that, so a car and all quicker than a bee. They can recognize human faces. They take individual parts like eyebrows, lips, and ears and pull them all together to make out a whole face. As I said, the compound eyes have different lenses in them, so they actually have to put the image together. They have 170 odor receptors compared to just 62 in fruit flies. This enables them to smell the difference between hundreds of different types of flowers. They can perceive the difference between images in 1/300th of a second compared to just a 50th of a second for humans. So we're quite a bit slower at recognizing images. Perhaps if we had compound eyes with more lenses, we might be quicker. So if a honeybee watched television, it would see each individual frame. The queen has control over whether she lays male or female eggs. That means she can decide what type of babies she's going to have. That'd be nice. Worker bees' jobs change as they age. From 1 to 2 days old, they clean the hive. From 3 to 11 days, they feed the larvae, the kids. From 12 to 21 days, they build combs, eject sick or dead bees from the hive, and act as guards. From 22 days until their death, they go out and forage. That means they get nectar and pollen. They can figure out the shortest route between different nectar sources to minimize flying time. This highly complex mathematical task is calculated by their tiny brains, which are the size of a sesame seed. The bee dance. When a bee locates a new food source, it returns to the hive and hands out samples of the flower's nectar to other members of the hive. Then it performs a dance that indicates the distance, direction, quality, and quantity of the food supply. There are two kinds of dance, the round dance and the waggle dance. The round dance, the bee turns in circles to the left and to the right. This is performed if food source is less than 105 feet or 32 meters away. The best food source, the longer and more excited the dance. The round dance tells the bees what direction to fly in. Both the bees will recognize the smell from their nectar samples, so they will know how to find the flowers. The waggle dance. With the waggle dance, the bee does 2 loops with a straight run in the middle. This is performed if the food is more than 105 feet away. The rate of looping indicates the distance to the food source. The faster the rate, the closer the food supply. The bee also buzzes as it loops, and this is another indicator of distance. The longer it buzzes, the further away the food is. Did you know the bee is the only insect that can produce food eaten by humans? Honey. Honeybees have been known to eat their hive mates and larvae when food runs out. During the summer months, queen bees can lay up to 2,500 eggs a day. It would take just 1 ounce, 28 grams of honey to fuel a bee's flight around the world. Bees are cold-blooded. They generate heat by shivering. If caught in a cold rain, a bee can quickly lose the ability to move. Scientists are looking at ways of training bees to sniff out bombs in airports and war zones. Bees use a tree resin called propolis as a kind of bee glue to reinforce their hives. Propolis, taken from beehives, may be used by humans to fight bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Mathematicians have figured out that the hexagonal shape of honeycomb cells makes them one of the most efficient structures in nature because the shape uses the least amount of wax. If anybody has any more questions about the bees, please feel free to contact us or talk to us during our time at 11 o'clock every day. Thank you very much. Enjoy the bees.